there's a really interesting trend at the moment of very attractive women complaining that men are no longer approaching them. And I find this absolutely fascinating. So, when I was a young man, I only plucked up the courage to actually just walk up to a random woman on the street once because she was really attractive and say, "Hey, would you like to go out?" She turned me down, right? Every other time I've got girlfriends or women who have been interested in me, they've basically come to me and sort of signaled to me that they're interested. And so, frankly, I've never been the sort of walk up to a girl and just start chatting her up type. But that most of the time, women will signal when they are interested in you, and you just, if you're interested back, you can pick it up and go from there. But I think that there is at least a certain kind of woman who enjoys the attention, right? Who likes to know that actually she is an attractive woman, and she's flattered by men making the effort and, well, as this woman says, catcalling her. Let's listen.
Tell me why every day I go out looking adorable, tits bouncing, skin glistening, and yet nobody ever hits on me or approaches me. Ever! Oh my god, like, please. I'll take a fucking construction worker catcall at this point.
So, now, there are many people who are saying, well, and this is another video of the woman in the orange dress here. Again, very attractive women, and men are just not approaching them. And they're becoming frustrated by it. And as Con here points out, many women, not all of them, spent the majority of the 2010s bitching about rape culture and misogyny and catcalling and Me Too, and now mad that young men aren't comfortable approaching them. You created the problem. I don't think it's just young men, although I think the age thing is an interesting question. Because, I mean, this woman looks like she's in her early 20s, and, well, do men in their early 20s actually spend a lot of time dating anyway? It seems that a lot of Gen Z are quite shy, introverted, not great at approaching one another, and, I mean, not entirely their fault, probably a lot due to social media and the internet and the fact that they've got phones, so they don't have to actually go up and personally involve themselves. And they seem to have been losing the customs on how to show someone that they're interested that isn't embarrassing or humiliating in some way, and that protects the dignity of both people involved. And I don't blame them. I mean, these are things that I think generally haven't been well passed down. I remember my dad telling me, you've just got to go and ask. And the worst she can say is no. I mean, that's not true. The worst she can do is laugh at you. But that hasn't happened to me. But I can imagine that happens, and it's absolutely harrowing. But at the end of the day, as a man, it's tough, and you will get over it. It's not the end of the world. But the times that it does work, then when you think, okay, that woman actually seemed to quite like me, and I'm going to go up and ask her out, it's actually really gratifying, and you feel like you've accomplished something. I said I hadn't done once, but now I'm thinking about it. I have actually done it a few more times than that. It was only once that I walked past this woman, and I was just like, wow, she's really attractive. And I was single at the time, and walked up to her. But other times where it's, like, I had a date with a girl who sold internet. She was, one of the women on the street, people on the street who's trying to sell broadband, whatever, like 15, 20 years ago. I can't remember how long now. And I didn't want it, but I ended up getting it because she was really cute. And I asked her on a date, and she was like, yeah, okay, great. It didn't go anywhere, but it was no big deal. But I ended up with that broadband for a goddamn year. But the point is, when you do it and it goes quite well, then okay, great, But anyway, that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is there's definitely an atmosphere that was created by the feminism of the 2010s. And this, I think, genuinely has had effects. I mean, Me Too, the hysteria about catcalling and misogyny and rape culture and all that sort of stuff. You can say thanks to Anita Sarkeesian, who herself had probably been catcalled one or two times. She's not hideous. but who had to marry herself incidentally. And now these women are feeling the effects of it. That's definitely an issue. And there are lots of women all over the place. It's not just like the odd TikTok video. Like this one here. I'm wondering if guys still approach women they don't know but are attracted to, or this basically never happens anymore. I, as a woman, don't get approached while walking the street in the grocery store, etc. Men seem to like me at work and on dating apps, but the approach thing from strangers just doesn't happen. And what's really funny is they're going through this and being like, oh, maybe we need to have some sort of social signal, like dropping a handkerchief to see if the guy's interested. And there was someone in this thread, I was reading through it before I started recording this, they're like, yeah, but what if the guy doesn't pick it up? That'd be devastating. Absolutely devastating. I don't know, I can't find the thing, but it would, but at least it wouldn't be like obvious. At least you could play it off as if, I just dropped that. I didn't mean to drop it. I wasn't trying to signal. But anyway, so yeah, you've got like other videos of women who are just trying to think of ways to get guys to approach them. Because again, like, I think for a lot of women, it's not necessarily that they are, actually they want loads of guys to be hitting on them. But what I think it is just for them to feel secure about themselves, and also gives them something interesting to say about the night. Like, it gives them a social status over other women that these two are talking about incidentally. It gives them sort of like, it's a story, right? That they can tell their friends and say, oh, yeah, this guy approached me, oh my God, he was this, he was that, whatever. But also it reassures them, oh, right, no, I am still actually attractive. Because a couple of years ago, I remember doing a video about women when they get older and they start to feel invisible. And it's because, like, when you're a young and attractive woman, you at least know that men notice you. And I think that for a lot of attractive young women, they feel important. They feel, oh, right, no, I have a place in society. And these guys are looking at me. They're checking me out. Even if they're not approaching me, I'm on their radar, right? They understand that I am a thing that matters in the grand scheme of male-female relationships. And so in society itself, I am sort of put on the map. But what these women are really complaining about is, I think, that they feel that they aren't on the map anymore. And this is the same thing that the older women were complaining about. When women get to like their 40s and 50s, and men are no longer just checking them out. They no longer catch men just having a sideward glance, admiringly. Which, again, the feminists have done a superb job of stigmatizing this. But actually, I think for a lot of women, and just a tangent on this, think about the kind of women who are feminists. Very rarely the attractive ones, right? Very rarely the ones who are getting catcalled. So in a way, feminism was kind of like a negative mating strategy, and they've ruined it for the decent-looking women. And you can thank your sisters on that one. They were fighting for your rights, not to feel flattered when you're walking around at night in your best clothes, looking as gorgeous as you can. Like, your sisters have done this for you. But I think they're entering the same status as women who grow older. And so, when women get to like their 50s and men are no longer, like, they're no longer a presence on the radar. They're no longer, oh, maybe she's maybe she'd be interested or something like that. That no longer happens because men just aren't thinking, okay, I want a 50-year-old woman. I'm going to pick up a 50-year-old woman. So it's one of those things that the older invisible women who didn't get married and don't have kids and don't have families, this is one of the things that, by the way, ladies, you're going to want to get married and have kids so you don't turn into one of these invisible women. It will happen to you too, because this is the nature of what the manosphere uncharitably but fairly calls the wall. When you reach the menopause, frankly, you stop being a viable mate in evolutionary terms, and then that just means that men just don't generally tend to check you out. And younger women, it seems, are actually encountering this firsthand, and so they're strategizing, well, what can we actually do to not be invisible? Because, we're still potential mates. What can be done? I mean, this is a fascinating video. This is absolutely fascinating. Let's watch this.
The dating scene is getting so bad in New York City that I am seeing on TikTok there are girls going into Midtown during the week and stealing Finance Bros salads for lunch. And then looking their name up from the salad order on LinkedIn and then messaging them through there and being like, hey, oh my god, so sorry, I grabbed your salad, like, let me just make it up to you and buy you a new one. And that's how they're, like, sliding in, which, honestly, smart. Why are we stealing men's salads? Like, why can't they just come up to us at a bar? Like, why is it getting to this point? Men, just please step up, or your salad's gonna fucking get taken. Your lunch is gonna get taken every week. Like, I'm seeing girls get so creative these days. Like, they're making bracelets with their phone numbers on them and giving them to you guys at the bars. They are taking pictures of you sneakily and then being like, hey, oh my god, making it their phone screen, and being like, hey, can you take a picture of me and my friends so you can see that your picture is their home screen? All just different ways to try to talk to you guys, because you guys don't come up to us in New York City, and it's crazy.
Okay, some of that was weird. If I talked to a woman and she had my picture as her phone screen, I'm like, what the hell's happening, man? Is this like some sort of weird, creepy Truman Show thing? But there we go. I mean, that is clever and creative. Oh, I took your salad by accident, you know, blah, blah, blah. But this is what I mean. Like, women will signal that they're interested, but I guess if they're not getting approached at all, well, this is actually becoming a problem for them, isn't it? Again, there are loads of videos of very attractive women who are just like, why can't I get a man? And one can't help but feel that it might be a sort of confluence. I think technology definitely has a role to play in this, and the kind of unwinding of society and the shared social customs and traditions that instructed men and women on how exactly to actually meet one another. I think that is genuinely a thing that's happened, although I obviously can't quantify it in any way. But I also do think it's the feminism. I do think that, like, a lot of men feel like they were essentially kind of beaten out of ever approaching women, and they're like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to come across as like some insane creep or anything. But Lisa Britton here makes a good point. There's a trend of women asking, well, what's wrong with men? Maybe they're asking the wrong question, and someone replies, well, they should hang out in the forest. I'm sure the bears would approach them. Well, touche. But this is something that a lot of men are worried about. They worry about coming off as creepy. And so it's like, well, there's the whole problem with feminism is that, I mean, there are lots of problems with feminism, but one of the main issues with feminism, and why most women are not feminists, right? I remember back in like 2014 or whatever, the feminists were like, 80% of women agree with gender equality, and yet only like 10% of women call themselves feminists. Why? And it's because feminism contains within it a dark animus against men as men. They hate men, and they actually seek to destroy men. They seek to unseat them from their positions of power and authority because they're men, not because they've done anything wrong. They just are resentful and spiteful against men. And if these women were allowed to control the discourse for a decade, which they were, well, unsurprisingly, that does have consequences. That does have a knock-on effect that people go, oh, right, okay. If for some reason this is representative of women, and we all agree that the feminists represent women, well, then things change to, you get a natural and reasonable reaction to what is being broadcast. And so men are like, right, okay, I'm not allowed to approach women anymore. I don't want to come off as some guy of Mad Men or something, some dinosaur. And so a lot of men just won't. Even if they see an attractive girl and they think, oh God, I wish I could. Apparently a lot of them don't. And now the women are beginning to notice this. And a lot of men just have never approached a woman in person. And 70% of men say the number one reasons they don't approach women is fear of rejection. So this is another thing. Like, and this is something that when I was young, women actually, how to say it? There was less need for performative cruelty, right? Because when I was young, there was no social media. You weren't going to record this, put it up. You weren't going to share it online and get loads of upvotes, likes or whatever. There was no, a girl would tell like 3 or 4 of her friends, her close circle of friends, and they'd titter and whatever when you walk by. But there was nothing really in being performatively sort of belligerent when rejecting someone. And so, honestly, and I know I'm going to sound like old man here, But when I was younger, I mean, there were plenty of girls that I thought liked me that I asked out and that didn't like me, and they were quite kind when they said, "Oh no, no, thank you." Right? You know, I appreciate the offer, but no, thank you. And that's rough, but it's not devastating. And you know, within the next day, you just get over it and you carry on with your life. It's just the way that things go. Sometimes you roll the dice with someone that you either know or work with or whatever, and sometimes you don't get what you want. But I think that now there's a kind of hard edge to it, and I genuinely think it comes from feminism. I genuinely think it comes from a culture of thinking that men are basically oppressive and kind of hateful, frankly, and it's a culture that genuinely stigmatized men. And I can definitely see that as a younger man now, I would definitely say it's scarier as a younger man now to approach a woman. I could see why. I'm really, I think this is more of an American thing. I get the feeling that over in Britain, it's probably still not that bad. Although I have to say, I'm just judging from the young men I know in this age bracket that I know, because of course I never approach women. I don't go anywhere or do anything, and with women at all. But I can see why younger men now would feel like it's more worrisome than it was when I was young. But maybe I'm overreacting. Honestly, I want to open this up to you guys in the comments, because honestly, I don't know, and but there's got to be something to it, right? There's got to be something here, because it is weird that you get very beautiful women going, well, where the hell are the men? And the men going, well, look, we're a bit too afraid to approach you. There has to have been some reason for it, and it honestly probably is feminism.